Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the AD2L Deep Dive. In this series, we look to sit down with members from our community that you might have already heard of, but maybe don't know their full story. Tonight, I hope to maybe shed some light on what happens behind the closed doors in AD2L, and with that, I'd like to welcome our guest, easily one of the top 3 admins in our league, the distinguished Subwoofer. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I am happy to be here. I don't often think of myself as being notable enough to be interviewed, so this is fun.
Yeah, like I said, top 3 admins in the league, easily. No contest.
That's perfect. I'll take that.
So I guess just starting off with background, because just trying to lay the foundations here. What got you like into Dota? How did you start your journey with this game?
Man, that is a great question. I've always been very involved in competitive scenes with basically anything that I've done. I played sports for quite a while, growing up into kind of young adulthood. Transitioned that more into esports when I was older teenager, and was heavily involved in actually the Call of Duty 4 scene, the original Modern Warfare.
Oh wow,
Um,
okay.
was very involved in a guild that ran several servers. Actually, if anybody remembers Clowns servers, if you were a PC gamer back in like 2007, 8, 9, 10, we had 2 of the top 10 traffic servers in North America. So I was one of the organizers, I guess, owners of that. So super involved on the back end of that at the beginning. And when that kind of died out and the server support largely stopped from, who would that have been at the time? Affinity at the time? Activision, maybe?
Oh, I have no idea.
Um, yeah, so I transitioned from that into kind of not really having like a competitive gaming home. And at the time, one of my coworkers said, "Hey, uh, I play Dota. It's just me and a bunch of my buddies who were all Chinese American guys, so you'd kind of be the odd man out, you know. But if you want to hang out with us, we play Dota." I was like, I have no idea what that is, but like, sure, I'll play. And my first introduction to Dota was playing 10v10, some version of a 10v10 custom map. And I was like, this is wild. I love this. So I started playing shortly after that. And I don't think really have ever taken longer than about a 2-week break in the years since then, which has probably been a decade, going on a decade. So yeah.
Wow, yeah. So you're in it from what, basically the start of before before the beta, like the whatever the Reborn, because Reborn was what, like 2015, right? I think, if I'm remembering correctly.
I started playing in either the end of 2013 or the beginning of 2014. And I kind of played sporadically, a couple games here or there, a lot of custom games. And sometime around 2014 or 2015, I had some issue where I had a bunch of fraud, bunch of like purchases go through my Steam account, and it was like the early days of Steam, and support was not what it is now, and I didn't know how to resolve it, so I just kind of axed that account and made a new one in, I think, early 2015, late 2014, and so then that's the account I've had ever since.
Gotcha.
So there may be a couple hundred games or 100 games, something like that, of actual Dota on my first account, but most of it was custom games and like 10v10 nonsense and stuff like that.
So my follow-up question to that is it on Alt Island for scouting purposes?
I will be honest with you, I don't even know what the name of it is anymore because it's been so long. I don't even know like how I would locate it or find it, or I don't even know if matchmaking data was a thing then. I don't know if it's even public
Yeah,
because
that checks out.
I've looked for what I thought the username was, and I've never been able to find it on Dota Buff. But it was a bunch of games of me losing with Zeus buying Mjolnir. So
Really valuable stuff then, yeah.
yeah, super valuable for scouting. Yeah.
So then how did you end up like finding AD2L and what got you into this league?
So started playing competitively with several of the MTL guys, probably 2017-ish. We played JDL for several seasons, which was mixed bag experience wise, very wide MMR ranges. We did not win very much. We were playing much better players. We had no idea what we were doing. Um, and I think it was Kino who found AD2L or had played with somebody who had played in AD2L. And we came over sometime around season 20, early 20s, 22 maybe. And that was my first foray into AD2L. And it was such a night and day better experience than JDL was for players that weren't, much better amateur players.
Yeah, definitely a more balanced field, I think. But I think that's like a common experience when I've like talked to people. They were like looking for a place where they weren't just gonna get absolutely smashed. But
Yeah, we had a season in JDL where we won one game. I think we went 1-12 or something. And the one game we won was like, this very improbable. We were just clicking on all cylinders, like very unlikely that we would even win. And we were like over the moon winning one game. So coming to AD2L where like, if you're in a balanced league, you have a chance to win half of your games, was
yeah,
a just so much better experience.
I mean, basically, I'm like looking back at like the rough archive list that I had, but there was like at least 3 leagues from like season 6 onwards, and then it got like developed into like the under 3K, under like 4K leagues, and then what by I think 16 is or 19 rather is when we started getting like contender and intermediate. So,
Yeah, we were in an early iteration of contender. Um, I think we had results-oriented thinkers were probably in our league.
oh, ROT,
Uh,
yeah,
a Red 5 was around. Fellowship of the Ping, which at that time I think was Misty Mountains, was around. Uh, Lemon Snow Cones and the Mittenses were both in contender.
of course, yeah.
So a lot of names that are still around were there our first season.
Yeah, those are some old heads. A couple of these new players joining. The past 2, 3 seasons maybe don't recognize all those, but those are some classic teams from AD2L history. So then, what got you into adminning for the league? Was it just like straight away like into that? Because I at that time like ComMod wasn't really like super developed position. It was literally just like Jamie. So like, how'd you make the jump
Yeah.
from player to admin?
Uh, it sort of happened organically, honestly. I was very involved with Kino in running a lot of things for MTL and with Kino doing events for MTL. I'm sure everybody's done, Pudge Wars or any of the seasonal tournaments, or we used to do like a highlight reels and like an awards ceremony at the end of the year, stuff like that, where we try to involve the community. And I really enjoyed that and kind of missed the organizational, like project management aspect of esports, which I'd done, years prior. And I don't know. I don't remember exactly what the trajectory was, but I just was kind of available to help when there were projects, and I've always been really engaged in, feedback and talking directly to people when I had ideas for things. Um, just trying to contribute wherever it was needed or wherever I could help. I did content with Gambit for a couple seasons. I did content with Jamie for a couple seasons. Um, I don't know, just kind of got my feet wet in a lot of different areas and really enjoyed it and really liked a lot of the people, and it just sort of fell into place, I guess, given my background, and uh, it just seemed like the logical next thing to do.
Yeah, right place, right time, right guy for it.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
All clicked. Yeah. And I guess a bit about your admining philosophy, if you will. This
Oh
is
man.
a bit of a nebulous question, so feel free to answer it how you wish. But I'm curious, like, if you had to maybe take one thing that you thought was potentially the most important. You know, maybe it's not like number one. It's a list of like three things that are like super important. You know, kind of your like secret sauce to having like a well run league. Um,
I don't know if I've ever thought about it in that context. That's a great question. Um, it, if I had to pick one thing, I think that the most important thing for me is leading with empathy. I think it's really easy to dehumanize people when you're in an online situation. You don't see people's
yeah,
faces. You're just interacting with primarily typing, sometimes voice chat. Very rarely are you in a position where that person is kind of fully realized as a living, breathing person that's got their own likes and dislikes and issues and things. And I think that's easy to forget. And it's easy to kind of conflate somebody as a participant in the league or a Dota player as like that person fully, you know? And I think getting past that and getting to know people as people and treating people as people just results in like a healthier environment and people feel more valued and more involved and they want to be involved in a community like that where they have the opportunity to be themselves. It's not just who they are as Dota players. Like there's more to it, you know.
yeah,
So that's important to me. I would say that's probably like my core value as a person in leadership, I suppose.
yeah. I guess a league for like both people and players. You know, they both get to exist or I guess coexist. You know, together. Um,
Right. Like, you can make rules for anything. You can make metrics for anything. And I like spreadsheets just as much as the next person and rules are fine. But at the end of the day, those things still have to interact in a meaningful way with people. It's not you can't make a statistical model that just solves people. People are complicated and
yeah.
messy and that's where the nuance of I think, running things comes into play.
Definitely a multifaceted role for sure. Um, and I mean, we've seen all kinds of people in the league. And I'd say I would argue that the Discord's gotten more vocal over time. I think, I don't know. It's hard to always judge how things were in the past, but I think we're definitely seeing a lot more of like everyone now. Even if it is still like only 30% of the league really like interacting. Um,
Right. There's a much higher percentage of people that are current members of the Discord interacting in the Discord than there was even a year ago.
oh,
So
okay.
in terms of metrics on that, like people that so not counting the people that are like dormant members where they haven't logged in a year, but people that have logged in and visited the server at some point, the percentage of those people that have also posted or reacted or clicked through things, clicked on content is much higher than it was a year ago. So that's always encouraging to see.
Yeah. I mean, you love to see it, honestly. And I guess on that vein a little, we've obviously had like this uptick and we have I guess now like actual stats to back up the fact that there are more people like talking and like being present in the Discord and we've definitely seen more like interesting like personalities. Let's use that phrase for lack of a better one. Especially being present and I have to ask you because Conch Chatter has been quite the beast this season. So I'm curious, what is your take on why maybe there seems to be potentially more controversy and like drama being present? And again, like it's hard to contextualize this based off of like the past where everything was in one chat and people were just like yelling at each other. But anecdotally, I would say that this is more than maybe I saw in like season 34 or 32 or something like
Oh
that.
yeah. Yeah. I would agree. Um I was thinking about this the other day as I was looking at some of the stats and I may have been talking to Gambit or Dobbs at the time and we were kind of brainstorming some stuff. Um I think that the decision to, as silly as this sounds, the decision to split up the discussion into these different segmented areas, um, so that maybe the general Dota 2 chat isn't just a catch-all for everybody in every league talking about anything that's related to the league, which is what it was for the longest time.
Yeah.
Um, I think by its nature, by having that, you're going to have domination from just the very top tier of strongest personalities. And when you have this segmented approach, you're just going to have more engagement from people who might not want to engage in the main chat, but they're willing to talk to other people in their league that they know. Um, and that is kind of a catch-22 because on the one hand, you've got people that don't engage much anywhere else, but they're willing to talk in their kind of league group among people that they know, and they banter and they have good back and forth, and it's a good relationship. But then you also have the possibility for a snowball effect that isn't metered out by any of the reasonable personalities from any other league unless they happen to be in that chat. So it just becomes like a feedback loop of whatever the dominant personalities are. And I think in Conquer League this season, we unfortunately saw, a couple negative dominant personalities that maybe influenced the trajectory of the chat at different times to kind of go off the rails in not always, the most positive way. So I don't know if there's like an easy way to figure out exactly what recipe creates that, but I think some of it could definitely be attributed to just things being more segmented. So I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing or both, you
Yeah.
know?
And I don't know if like an easy way of even describing it exists. I was just like, hey, what if I ask this question? I wonder what kind of response I'll get. But
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a great question.
yeah, I no idea myself. I was curious like what your take on it. And you also mentioned like the fact that you like we're looking at the stats about it and like discussing with the other admins. And I'm curious, is there like any other like part or aspect of the admin job that I guess maybe people don't really like know about or gets like glossed over by the general public? Because you're talking about this like behind the scenes work and the fact that you're like thinking and caring about the league, not even when you're like in Discord necessarily typing. And I'm curious, is there like any other like aspect that you work on or that the other admins you work on together that maybe isn't very well known?
Um, I think that a lot of admin work, and a lot of mod work, as you know, is sort of thankless. There's a lot of busy, boring work behind the scenes that has to get done to keep everything running smoothly, whether that's making changes to the site or filling in spreadsheets or, DMing 30 people back that all had a very similar question because something was worded incorrectly, so anything like that. Um, I think that, th- anybody who's been in a role where you are doing any kind of project management or any kind of even like event management or some kind of an operations role, there are so many conversations and things that happen like kind of like an iceberg, and really the public or the general league only sees kind of the tip of the iceberg popping up when things need to be made public or statement has to be made or something has to be addressed, but there's always just this massive iceberg of discussion and work and meetings with people and things that's always going on kind of underneath the surface. It's not uncommon. I think maybe one thing that it's easy to kind of hand wave away, but if there's a decision that needs to be made, even if it seems like a pretty straightforward one, we all talk about it. We all weigh in on it. Sometimes we'll all be in voice chat together, sometimes with the person involved, sometimes for hours, trying to figure out a solution and reasoning through why we think what we think. There's never anything that's done where it's just, this is my gut feeling and I'm going to make this decision in 3 minutes and we're going to put out an announcement and now I can go back to playing my game.
Yeah.
So it's I will say to Dops and Gambit and Seth, who's still very involved on the back end, and Havoc as well. Um, nothing is ever done flippantly or quickly or without like a lot of thought given to it. There's always a lot of heart put into whatever decisions are made.
Well, that's definitely reassuring to hear. And I mean, I obviously have like a little more idea of like what happens, but I think a lot of people have like questions about like how the decisions exist, and I think from what you said and also what I've seen, right, there is at least a guarantee of like time going into the fact and care for the decisions. Like nothing, rarely anything happens quickly. Which some maybe people are mad about that. They're like, go faster or something, but
Right.
there's always like it's a methodical approach, I guess, if I had to put a name to it.
Yeah. I the argument could certainly be made that there are some things that could happen quicker, and I don't think that that's wrong. Um, and maybe there are things that should happen quicker, and maybe that's just a fault in the way that we all communicate and process. But uh, I guess if you're going to err on one side or the other, it's better for things to be a little bit slower and less wrong, than
Yeah,
getting everything out quickly and then playing damage control because you didn't take your time coming to a decision.
yeah, better
So,
safe than sorry.
yeah.
Um, I do want to switch gears a little bit because, we talked a little bit about your like playing earlier on, but then we went into a lot of adminning stuff. So, um, I mean, I know I've had the opportunity to play with you like early on and know that you were like a staple part of like the MTL roster when they were playing like earlier on in AD2L. And I'm curious, like since becoming an admin in what it was it May 2022, we've only seen you play in like 2 seasons so far. Do you think your like era of playing is over in AD2L? Do you find it maybe more difficult to play when you're also like adminning the league? Is there any um difficulties there, or
Uh, we've talked. We had one season where all three admins played, and it was pre having the current structure that we have now with like you and Fred also being able to assist with some of the game day things. And that made it very hard to do admin work. So we've kind of reached this compromise where the three of us are never all playing at the same time. And just the way that it's worked the last couple of seasons, I've been the one for various other reasons where I've been perfectly fine not playing in that particular season. I like playing. Um, I'm not somebody that likes playing so much that I'm willing to just play with a random stack because I'm pretty loyal to the guys that I've been playing with for, one of them almost 8 years now.
Mhm.
So I would rather play with them or just not play a lot of times. Maybe someday in the future that'll change and I'll be willing to just kind of throw it back with a stack of 5 random people. But at this point, I value the community and like being involved in that more than I value the experience of, having to play regularly or play every season or something like that.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm curious to see the return of Sub, the Underlord in the offlane. Was it coming back?
Oh God, yeah.
um,
Yeah, unfortunately, that was at a time in the patch where that hero just happened to be good, and so that's all I was allowed to play.
yeah.
So,
That's
you know
my
how it
like
goes.
signature. Whenever I think I'm like signature hero for sub, I was like that hero appears in my mind. Um, yeah. So this one was an interesting one. So I was like writing up questions, and I had the idea because admin. I was like, I had the idea to ask you. I was like, you can ban like one person, and who's it gonna be? But then I was like, there's
Oh
no way I'm
my.
getting like a proper answer here, and you can still answer it. But I wanted to put a better twist on it, and the different scenario is you have to make the worst admin decision, a singular thing that gets everyone in the Discord riled up. Like all the pitchforks are there. It's utter chaos. What is that
Amazing.
terrible admin decision that you are making?
Amazing. Um, Worst admin decision, like, how would I make the most people upset at the
Exactly.
same time?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Um Probably, I don't know, maybe if we announced that we were selling out to, like, some organization that everybody hates, or, like, we were shifting gears from Dota to League of Legends, we were, like, dropping all of our Dota leagues and moving to League.
Oh God, yeah.
I would imagine that that would probably be, like, the worst regarded decision.
Maybe like NFTs or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like, everybody had to purchase an NFT to play in the league. I would imagine that that would not go over well.
Coming
Uh,
season 40.
Season 40, it is mandatory investment in our totally legitimate company that has an offshore account.
AD2L LLC. I've heard it's gone great with other esports leagues. Yeah.
Yeah, we as long as you can get 10 people in your downline to buy an NFT, everything will be fine.
Oh, yeah, that's a pretty solid idea. I like where we're going with this. So Seth, if you're listening, this is our official pitch.
Yeah, we can pivot to League. Everything that's been built for a decade is now just down the drain. How to kill a league.
A nice pump and dump here with AD2L. We're gonna go the NA route, you know, basically every single
That's
one of their
oh
teams.
man. Yeah. Yeah, EG has expressed interest in buying AD2L.
Oh, we've got a lawsuit on our hands now. Perfect. I love this. Yeah.
Yeah, Sumail is suing AD2L for damages.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Yeah. This is good. We're cooking up some really really great ways to ruin the league. Um,
If I had like a realistic decision that could be made that would really irritate people, maybe it would be changing the structure to like team draft instead of teams being able to sign up with their their rosters.
another
You
draft
know, if
league.
we
Yeah.
move to like a draft league, I think that would probably irritate the vast majority of the league because there are a lot of people who like that kind of thing, but that's not why they're in 82L,
Yeah.
you know. So, yeah, we're never going to do that.
A more serious question when it comes. Actually, whoa, hold up, because I heard you say something when I mentioned the banning question. So I do want to give you a moment to say anything you'd like there. If you want to answer it, you can. If you don't, that's totally fine. But you can ban one person, free pass. Who are you choosing?
Oh no. I don't know. I don't have anybody that I want to ban right now.
This question may be a little bit of bait, but that's fine.
There's nobody that is even on my radar that I'm like that person needs to be banned permanently right now. We've kind of been there, done that at the beginning of this season. I think we're in good shape right now. So I'm going to abstain.
It's already.
Yeah, I don't think we have anybody that's been particularly bad for quite a while.
Yeah.
Maybe if we have the return of Dahak under another
Oh
alt,
God.
I'll
Yeah.
happily throw a ban that way.
Yeah. That's a good one. Get those people smurfing and Explorer out of here. That's a sacred league.
Oh, what a great guy he was.
Oh, and I guess the more serious question I have, concerning decisions is, I guess what would be like an admin either like moment, not necessarily a decision, but it can be a decision that you have the opportunity to look back with like full hindsight, like not necessarily something that you like regret, but one that you are glad to be able to look back and have like clarity on the decision now. If that makes any
Oh
sense, that
man.
may have been a
Yeah,
terrible.
that's a great question. Um, hmm. Because there are definitely things that we look back on, and hindsight is always 2020.
Yeah.
Um, you can have an idea of what you want to do, and then the idea of what actually happens is not always. Ah, man. I'm literally reading back through a notepad that I have with like old notes on it just to see if anything jumps out at me. Maybe the previous winter mini. Was it the winter mini or the spring mini?
I think that was a spring
It was
mini.
the
Yeah.
spring mini. Yeah. Just the organization behind that and kind of the way that we communicated and delegated in hindsight, at the time it seemed like it was going to be okay, and there were just so many things not accounted for, and all of us had just immediate hindsight, like the week that it happened,
Yeah.
that we were like, yeah, we will make changes because none of us are happy with how this went down. So that's probably the most recent thing that I can think of where we were all equally unhappy with ourselves
Yeah.
for the way that it went off.
Not the
So
finest moment. I was gonna say for like the one decision that makes everyone mad is we're just gonna run back the spring mini exactly how it was, but
yeah, that was definitely a time where, on paper a lot of these things were fine, but in practice it just needed to be better fleshed out, and the community was very vocal, and we were very vocal about saying, yeah, we screwed up, it'll be better.
yeah,
That's kind of all you can do sometimes,
yeah, definitely gonna be a lot better. And am I overstating and saying that there's a winter mini? I think that's been said somewhere in the Discord, right?
There is not only is there here, you heard it here first. Here's the reveal, folks, for anybody that's listened this far. Not only is a winter mini planned, although we do not have a firm date, TBD, yet, but there is a dedicated ticket with
Whoa,
Valve for the winter mini that has already been approved. So you
awesome.
heard it here first. Yeah. Yeah.
That's good. That's really good. Yeah. I mean, that's just like one of the extra things that's just like a hassle during like the time of setting it up. But if they're all on the same ticket, then you know.
They are all on the same, and so we'll be able to look back and not be like, "Why is this team play 2 games this season?" Now it'll make sense.
And like AD2L season 38, but then also like 37 because that's the only ticket they had. Yeah.
Right, right. Yeah. Yeah. More organization, more streamlining, better stats.
I
Sounds like
was
I'm running for office.
vote sub 20, what are we, 2024? Yeah.
Yeah.
And your running mate's going to be actually sub squared. I've got it.
My running mate, you know what? I'll probably pick Fred because I will just run all of my numbers by him, and then he will make sure that I don't make mistakes.
Yeah, he's like the
Fre
perfect like campaign manager, chief of staff, like dude prepped and ready. Yeah.
Yeah, to give people a look behind the curtain, Licky knows this already, um, but there have been a non-zero number of times that I have posted something or said something, and there'll be a typo, or I forgot a line, or something in it is, like, not perfect. Fred is on it in 30 seconds and has already pinged me in one of the back channels to chat and is like, "You effed up, please fix this." You gotta have somebody like that in your corner.
Yeah.
Is immediately like, "Please fix this."
Yeah. I was gonna ask you, like, share with me a secret of what's coming new for AD12, but we kind of got it there with the winter mini. I guess
Yeah, Winter Mini, Banquet.
oh
Banquet's
banquet,
coming
that's
up
right.
end
Yeah.
of December, beginning of January. We've got a whole bunch of really cool and really funny stuff that is being done right now. Um, I'm super excited for it. I think it's gonna be just as good, if not better than last year, which was super well received, and I think everybody that attended had a great time.
Yeah.
So, I would say, as soon as we put that event up, which will probably be in the next week or 2 here, you should come. It'll be on a Thursday. It's your normal game night, just come.
Yeah. I'm hoping to come to it this year because I couldn't last year because I was literally on the other side of the globe, but
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
yeah, the time zone was a nightmare, but yeah, I'm fingers crossed, hoping to be able to attend my first AD2L banquet. I assume it's like, is it inspired from the like MD2L awards thing, or not
You
MD2L,
know,
MTL?
the
Jeez.
MTL, yeah. I think the MTL awards thing started during the first year of COVID because I wanted to do something really nice for everybody. Nobody could see each other in person, which is something that uh, a lot of the MTL guys have done kind of intermittently over the years. Couldn't see each other in person. And really, there is no better thing that people, not just Dota players, but people crave than hearing other people say nice things about them. That is
Yeah.
just a universally good thing to experience, right? Or seeing one of your friends that you like and hearing nice things about them. Like, it's just cool. It's just a good vibes, fun event, positivity, awards, recognition for things that are actually really cool. Uh, yeah, it kind of was born out of that, and then I was like, you know what, we could do this for AD2L. This would be a lot of fun. Um, we just need more things like that. Like, no reason to have content that's always just saying this person's better than this person, and this person needs to shore up their laning, and this person really looked like trash last week. I mean, there's a time and a place for that, but really, when it's all said and done, isn't it nice to just watch highlights with your friends on Twitch and
Yeah,
crack open a drink and, laugh at some funny skits and Gambit, doing whatever weird stuff he's doing this year? Yeah,
yeah.
everybody wants that.
That is nice. It's a nice like wholesome event, just a little recap. It's like the when YouTube recaps, everyone liked those. That's what I think of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or what is it called?
Yeah, that's the
Rewind.
whole
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, YouTube rewinds. Yeah, yeah.
Um but wow, I'm so glad we got here PMA on such a natural like way of getting here because I always want to like end it by on a positive note. And with that, I have the question, what makes you come back to AD2L? Like, why AD2L? Like, why do you choose this league as your home?
Well, I signed a 17-year contract
Oh,
with
of
Seth,
course. Yeah.
so
We love capitalism here.
uh, you know, I have I've heard it said, and I think that this is true, that every generation sort of has their third place, right? Your first place is your home, your second place is where you work, typically. If you're a student, it's where you go to school. And your third place is the place that you want to be that is not those two places. Um, and in history past, that's been a pub for some people, or a park, or a restaurant, or whatever the case may be. I think for a lot of people, their third place is this server, playing games with each other and creating camaraderie and forming teams and strategizing and making content. And I just enjoy fostering that kind of environment and being, privileged to steer the wheel a little bit for that kind of an endeavor that hopefully is giving people a place that is not their home or their work. If those places aren't great places to be all the time, that's a place that they can be that's hopefully positive and fulfilling in some way. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that's such a nice little like bow tie to put on it. Wow. That makes me want to come play 8012 even though I'm already here.
there you go.
Yeah. Um but yeah, that's all I have for you. Anything you'd like to specifically, I guess, like shout out if you haven't already? I mean, we highlighted like the banquets, Winter Mini coming up.
Shout out. I am very hyped about these playoffs. There's a lot of good games still to be played. There have been some really cool upsets already this season in several leagues, so it's going to be great. Very excited about things on the docket for 2024, including season 40. A lot of little tweaks. I think we're in little tweak mode now after Glicko. No more big stuff. So it's always exciting to not have any big moving pieces and just have smaller things be adjusted and see people kind of settle into, the new normal. I'm very excited about all of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and honestly, with Dota in general, I know a lot of people liked the DPC for what it did, but I think having the reemergence of all these little tournaments on the side and third-party things, I think is super cool for the game. Just more variance in the Dota that is out there to be watched and enjoyed. So it's a good time to be a Dota player.
Yeah. We're definitely gonna see a an 82L major coming up soon.
Man,
That's the
that
big
would be
thing on the docket.
that would be wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we do not have the funding for that, but maybe
League
someday.
fees are now $100 per person. Thank you, everyone.
Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah, That's all I have. It's been so nice to sit down and chat with you. We've like talked before, but we've never like talked before, so this is like is nice to do. Just nice to get a little perspective, you know. That's kind of the goal of this all. And like you
Yeah.
said, how you started this all to like humanize the people that we're talking to, get a little idea of like who the people are behind the profile picture, behind like the announcements or whatever they're saying in Discord. Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you so much for having me. This was a blast. Uh, yeah, this is great. Love this kind of content, so keep it up.
Yeah, we're I guess a sneak peek for everyone who's still watching. Looking forward, I hope to talk to one of the honestly one of the elite casters that we have here in our league. The dude's been around for a while. He's actually just insane. But looking forward to that. But for now, um, we've had the wonderful guest sub here joining us. Give him a little round of applause, I guess, if you're still watching. Confuse the people at
Woo.
home while you're clapping at your computer. But I hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all got a little bit of information out of this. You know, got a little more perspective. Enjoyed this little deep dive onto one of our very own admins, and hope you all have a great rest of your day, afternoon, evening, or night.